You've heard that Columbus discovered America, but what if I told you that discovery was actually the beginning of the greatest collapse in human history? In the next few minutes, you'll see how one man's voyage unleashed a chain reaction that killed over 50 million people, erased entire civilizations, and rewrote the soul of the Americas forever. In 1492, Christopher Columbus set sail under the Spanish crown not to find a new world, but a shortcut to Asia. He didn't discover America. He stumbled upon it, a land that had already been home to more than 60 million people across thousands of thriving cultures. There were cities larger than London, road systems older than Rome, and trade networks stretching from the Andes to the Great Plains. To the people who lived there, this wasn't a new world. It was the only world. But when Columbus's ships touched land, the Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, history itself split in two. He wrote in his diary that the native people were so kind they would make good servants. And within a few years, that single sentence became the blueprint for conquest. Columbus didn't just bring sailors. He brought seeds, steel, and sickness. The first wave of contact unleashed something invisible, diseases that no native immune system had ever faced: smallpox, measles, influenza. Within a generation, entire cities vanished. Villages that once echoed with music and laughter were replaced by silence and smoke. Historians call it the Great Dying. Between 1492 and 1600, nearly 90% of the native population of the Americas disappeared. That's the largest loss of life on Earth, greater than any war, plague, or famine in recorded history. And yet, for centuries, this tragedy was written off as progress. But here's where things get strange. This collapse didn't just change the people, it changed the planet. When millions of farms and villages were abandoned, the land reclaimed itself. Forests grew back, absorbing so much carbon that the Earth's temperature dropped, triggering what scientists now call the Little Ice Age. Yes, Columbus's voyage may have literally cooled the planet. The discovery of America reshaped the climate, rewriting not just human history, but the history of the Earth itself. But the human cost was far from over. Spain saw the New World as a bottomless treasure chest, gold, silver, and souls to be conquered. Columbus himself enslaved hundreds of Taíno men, women, and children, forcing them to dig for gold under the Caribbean sun. If they failed to bring enough, their hands were cut off. Those who resisted were hunted down by dogs. One priest, Bartolomé de las Casas, wrote, "Such inhumanities and barbarisms were committed in my sight as no age can parallel." He described rivers red with blood, mothers drowning their own children rather than see them enslaved. This was not a discovery. It was the apocalypse. Within decades, European powers carved the continent like a carcass: Spain in the south, England in the east, France in the north. As the native population collapsed, the colonists faced a new problem. There were not enough people left to work the land. And so began another horror: the Atlantic slave trade. Over 12 million Africans were forced across the ocean to replace the lives that had been lost. The New World was built on the ashes of two civilizations, one destroyed, one enslaved. That's the hidden aftermath of Columbus. The discovery didn't open the world, it divided it. But what happened next shocked everyone. Even among the chaos, survivors fought back. Hidden in mountains, forests, and swamps, remnants of lost nations preserved their stories through songs, carvings, and secret rituals. The Taíno, once declared extinct, still live on today in the DNA of Caribbean people. Their words, canoe, hammock, hurricane, survive in English itself. And deep in the Andes, descendants of the Inca still keep the quipu, knotted cords that once recorded their history, silent witnesses to a world erased by conquest. History tried to bury them, but their echoes never stopped speaking. By the 1700s, the myth of discovery became the foundation of the American identity, taught in schools, painted in murals, celebrated every October. But beneath the parades and flags, the real story remained in the shadows. The so-called Age of Discovery wasn't about curiosity, it was about control. It wasn't about courage, it was about conquest. And yet the irony is that the same continent built from this bloodshed would later fight for liberty, equality, and freedom. Ideals born in lands that had first been enslaved. The story of Columbus is not just about the past. It's about the moral price of an empire and how every civilization must face the ghosts it creates. So the next time you hear that Columbus discovered America, remember this: he didn't just find a new world, he ended one. But from that ending came something unexpected, a rebirth, carried in the memories of the survivors, the songs of their children, and the land itself. History isn't just made by kings and explorers, it's written by those who refused to disappear. If you love forgotten American history and the hidden stories buried beneath the myths, then you'll love what's coming next week. Because next time, we're uncovering a disaster so strange it changed how America remembers itself. History isn't just what's written in books, it's what's been forgotten and what we choose to remember. If you love forgotten American history, dark secrets, and real stories buried beneath the myths, then don't just watch. Subscribe and stay with us and be part of uncovering America's strangest and hiddenest past. Because next week, another story is coming. One even more haunting than this. Subscribe and stay with us. New forgotten stories every week.